SOS. I took too big of a hit, please.
I'm happy for you that you got a big hit out of what you have. I'm proud.
Drug dealers hit me up. Okay, I don't even know where we left our intro at, but...
we definitely haven't even said the intro.
Definitely. Hello. Hi. Welcome back. Welcome back to the break that we took, but you weren't here because I edited it all out. I can't even...
Kristen's drunk.
Hi, this is Drunk Kristen, and welcome... welcome to... the Red Rum and Rum.
I'm sorry. That was real.
No, that was not scripted. This is the Red Rum and Red Wine podcast, the podcast where we talk about murder, mystery, and mishaps. And if you clearly could not tell from that beauty that came out of my mouth, hi, I'm one of the mishaps, Kristen. Take it away.
I'm the responsible mishap tonight. Hello, Sara here.
Yeah, calling me out. No, I wasn't drunk editing right before this. No, I sober edit. I'm responsible.
Well, we weren't expecting a recording tonight, but then I was like, wow, a miracle did happen. And I finished my notes.
And I said, wow, a miracle would happen. I'm really drunk and I will give you amazing content. So here we are. Mm-hmm.
So let's fucking hear it.
Yes. Before... Oh my God. I'm actually concerned. Are you okay?
Oh my God. That was like a really wet, foamy burp. I'm so sorry. Oh God, I think it's gonna happen again.
My headphones popped. My headphones are popped out. The background is off. The headphones are gone. Oh my God, are you all right? Are you okay?
I think so. There's
Oh my God.
There's about a 98% chance it'll happen again. So I'm just drinking a really delicious IPA, and it's making me burpy. It's literally called Delicious IPA.
Delicious IPA, please. Don't feel threatened. You can still sponsor us.
Oh yeah, it's a good burp.
That frothy burp would not deter clients at all. We are great candidates for your beer. Yes.
What are you drinking? What have you been drinking?
Not that beer that makes me taste like, or makes me sound like that. I am drinking my good old and trusty, if any beer is to sponsor us, it is going to be this one. Shiner, please. I know I had a projectile incident with you Halloween of 17 when I was dressed as Wednesday Addams, but I am here drinking your Redbird. Ruby Redbird. Yes. Yes, the grapefruit. 95 calories, people. I'm
95.
here. Watch me promote y'all. If you drink White Claws, push it aside, grab this beer. 95 calories, 3.1 carbs. Only one carb more than a White Claw. I mean,
let me help promote it. I tried it when I visited San Antonio recently,
you don't.
and I did not like it. I took one sip, and I was like,
Shh. Sara, you're costing us money. I have a excellent palate, and I approve of the Ruby Grapefruit message. So now that we are in it, what are we in it for?
I am going to be talking about a topic I haven't really covered yet, which is a missing persons case. And, you know, I'm living in New Mexico now, so it is a New Mexico missing persons case. This one is kind of well known within the true crime community. You know, it's been covered by podcasts before. It's just, you know, it's still cold, it's still unsolved, and it's still it's shook the community. So today I will be talking about the disappearance of Tara Calico.
That is ringing a little bit.
Yeah, once I go into details, you'll probably like recognize it for sure.
You know me, I'm a stoner. I don't remember names. I remember
the weirdest details. Like
yes,
she was wearing a yellow sweater with white polka dots and red rain boots. So this story takes place in Belen, New Mexico, and it's a small town about 35 miles south of Albuquerque. Its residents have described it as, you know, a tight-knit, small community. They've always felt pretty safe there, you know, kind of until, like, this happens, so.
Always.
Belen, New Mexico is where Tara Calico lived with her mother, Patty Dole, and stepfather, John Dole. She did have a few siblings, and I'm not sure how many exactly and which ones were like full blood or step siblings, and I'm not sure if any of them also lived in the household, but I just know she at least lived with her mom and stepfather. So on September 20th, 1988, 19-year-old Tara sets out to go on her daily bike ride around 9:30 a.m. Tara would try and ride her bike like almost every day. You know, weather permitting, she like would try and do it literally every day. And she would ride the same route, which she would go out of her neighborhood, take a left turn on New Mexico State Road 47. And it was about a 34-mile round trip. So she would ride 17 miles to this railroad track and turn around and ride back home.
I hate it because I sound like my mom when she tells me, like, put a pair of shorts on before you put that outfit out in public, because it's very dangerous as a female for you to take the same route. Oh. And it shouldn't be something that should be dangerous, but for society's fucked up reasons it is. But, like, as soon as I hear that, like, she takes the same route, I'm just like, ooh, don't. As a female, that's just, like, not something that you should do.
Yeah. And, you know, it's the 80s, and it is a small, tight-knit community, so they would have never thought something like this, you know, what I'm about to tell you would happen. Yeah. So, but this route she would ride has been described as, you know, if you've ever been to New Mexico, it's pretty, like, rural New Mexico terrain, so it's kind of desert-like, a lot of brush and cacti, but it's also kind of beautiful.
A lot of people compare it to like Alien universe.
Yeah,
it just like that. The terrain can sometimes look like otherworldly.
Oh, very much. Yeah, and New Mexico has various terrain. You know, it's mountainous. It can be desert-like. There's the sand dunes. There's there's like the national forest, so there's trees and there's green. So
there's just like
varies,
so many different variations that you can have.
Where we're at, it's a little more like brush and desert like, but still like it's described as scenic and like pleasant to the eyes at least.
Peaceful.
So, you know, and this is why she rode her bike on this route every day. It was for exercise, you know, nonetheless, but it was also to relax and to clear her head, you know. She enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So on this day, she rode her mother's pink Huffy bicycle because she had been having trouble with her own bicycle recently with flat tires and such. Mm-hmm. She also took with her yellow Walkman with one cassette, obviously. Yeah.
This case is sounding really familiar.
Yeah. The bike and the cassette usually will get ya.
Yeah.
When Tara was leaving, She told her mom that if she wasn't home by noon to go out looking for her, because she had plans to play tennis with her boyfriend around like 12:30 or 1 that day, and she didn't want to be late or miss it. Because remember, it's 1988. They didn't have cell phones. She may have been wearing a watch, but it was never noted. So I doubt she was if she was, you know.
Wait, so it was a pretty long track. So when she says, like, go out looking for me, was it something that her mom could have easily accessed the whole entire route? Okay.
Yes, because...
So she was basically saying, like, just drive the car around, look for me.
Because her mom would often ride bicycles with Tara. So she was very familiar with that route. But she apparently, like what I read, she would occasionally / often ride with her, but as of lately, she'd been kind of skipping more and more rides. And obviously, she couldn't ride with her because Tara was using her bike because Tara was having trouble with her bike. So.
Of course, yeah.
But she was very familiar and knew exactly what path Tara was taking, and so she knew where to look.
Same one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unknown to Patty at the time, this would be the last time she ever spoke to her daughter.
God.
A little bit about Tara before we get into the investigation and what happens. Tara Lee Calico was born on February 28th, 1969. She had, light brown hair. She was tall, attractive, intelligent, and athletic. Friend and classmates admired her. In high school, she was in band, the ski club, President's Club, the French Club.
What the
She was on the freaking drill team.
You could have stopped right there and that would have been enough
I know. And she played tennis. Okay.
Stop. Okay.
So she was very well-rounded.
So she knew how to manage her time much, much better than I ever
did.
did.
Okay, so that's my next bullet. She was scheduled, organized, and focused.
Yeah. This is someone who is not running this podcast.
Not I. What?
Hi. We stay up all night and research our podcasts the night before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So at the time of her disappearance, I mentioned that she was 19. She was going into her sophomore year at the University of New Mexico at the Valencia location, because there is one in Albuquerque, and Valencia is the county she was in. So Belen, New Mexico is in Valencia County.
Got
it. She would ride her bike to and from school. And like I mentioned, she did have a unclear to me, family situation, like brothers and sisters who were either full blood or not. I don't know, because when I watched a documentary, just her sister was featured, and she made a comment like her mom started to look for her. So I'm thinking, like,
did it mention her ever having like a bad relationship with a stepfather? Because I know you had mentioned him still like being in the photo or in the picture.
Right. No. Her home life wasn't super clear, but there was no ill-painted picture of her relationship with her stepfather. In fact, he stays invested in her disappearance, and we don't go into a whole lot of detail, but you'll see a little later how he seems frustrated with how things end up.
Sorry, does it ever go into detail about her actual dad? Like
her biological father? From what I read in resources, there were I saw one thing about him basically on how their relationship was unclear, but he wasn't super in the picture, I don't think.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, and hi Dad, not like you're ever listening, but yeah.
Yep. So back to the morning or day of September 20th, 1988. Like I mentioned, Tara was scheduled and organized, so when she doesn't return from her bike ride by noon that day, her mom set out to look for her just like Tara had asked her to. So her mom knew she was organized and scheduled, so of course she kind of immediately started to worry, but she was also she kind of told me almost warned me, like, if I don't come home, go look for me. So she almost...
Like a premonition.
Probably like a premonition. And so
eerie.
eerie. And there were kind of mixed... There was mixed information in the sources as to why Tara gave her mom those instructions. Because she did have tire trouble with her bicycle, it was said that, you know, like a couple days prior, she got a flat tire while riding her bike and she had to walk it home 7 miles. So that could have been the reason why.
I mean, so it was swim day. It's swim day every Monday at my kid's school. I forgot one Monday that it wasn't swim day. I will never forget again because of the inconvenience that it brought me. So I could only imagine after having a 7-mile walk with a broken tire, I could definitely say, hey, if I don't show up at this time, you better fucking look for me because I'm not walking all of these miles.
Oh, yeah. Tara's mom goes out looking for her. And like I said earlier, her mom was super familiar with the route, so she knew where to look. She drove to the train tracks and back and didn't see Tara. So she figured, I don't know, like maybe I missed her. Maybe, you know, she already left to go play tennis. So, so when she returns from looking for her, she calls Tara's boyfriend. And when he's like, no, I haven't seen her, she calls police immediately. Normally, when young people go missing, they are treated as possible runaways. But in this case, it was totally different due to the nature of Tara, like her behavior, who she was as a person. She had no history of any kind of ill behavior. And it's not like she would just run away with someone random because she had her boyfriend. And, you know, so those are just kind of the understandings of why police actually acted immediately as well. And Tara's mom acted immediately, so that was beneficial.
And so sorry, how old was she at this time?
19 years old.
19. Oh, so she was past the adult age too. So that's even like an extra.
Right. It's not like she would just be like, bye.
How do you spell her last name?
Calico. Yeah.
She looks exactly like you.
I know. If anyone needs a reenactment, actress,
no wonder
like,
you said she was gorgeous. I'm leaving that in. You're like, oh, she's so gorgeous. I'm like, dude, she looks exactly like you. No wonder. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I know the photo related with that for sure. So, damn, that's so crazy. Yeah, you like the eyebrows, the eye color. It's so insane.
I know. I have green eyes. It's said that she has green eyes, but then
like
also it says she has brown. So
it's
I don't know.
Like so the resemblance.
Like if I just got like a little bit of a perm, maybe.
If you cut your bangs and like curled them like that, that's like you almost. It's so.
Because I'll get into
some
the
real dark eyeliner under those eyes.
At the end of this episode, I'll get into a documentary that is in the works, and they might need like, I don't know, maybe not. I don't know.
No, sign up. I would. You're a dead canny. Wow.
So the search for Tara begins immediately. You know, family members, friends, the community, police, they all start searching the route that Tara was riding her bikes. You know, how they do the hand-in-hand sweep of the areas. They were doing that, and there was no sign of Tara, no sign of her bicycle, or, you know, her mom's pink Huffy bicycle. Mm-hmm. She seemingly vanished without a trace. But while they were searching, they did come across some like car and bicycle tire tracks on the side of the road. Mm-hmm. The road they were searching and the, you know, areas on each side, it was like a 2-lane road. So not huge. And yeah, and like I said, it was like a desert, like brushy area. So lots of dirt and just like bushes and stuff. So on the side of the road, and the way the bicycle and the car marks seemed, it looks like a scuffle could have happened, basically. The bicycle tire marks, the way that Tara's stepdad described it, he described that they almost looked like skid marks and that it looked like a struggle had taken place.
Oh, shit.
But there were car or vehicle tire marks as well, but I think they weren't as like skiddy. They were just like actual marks that
Yeah. It looked more like the bike had actually rode over it, not so much.
Yeah, and then it like kind of they stopped. So
yeah.
Also, a piece of a broken yellow Walkman and a cassette tape was also found nearby.
Oh.
Unfortunately, other than a few witness statements that I'm about to get into, this would be the only evidence that they would find, like, for a while.
Wow.
Or ever, basically. So,
like, no bike, no body, nothing. Just. Wow.
So fortunately, there are a few witnesses that recall seeing Tara riding her bike that morning. And I didn't like put this in my notes, but I recall in a source, like, a witness recalled seeing her at 11:45 a.m., like literally right before she was supposed to be home. They remember seeing her.
Oh my God.
Both witnesses that came forward also mentioned a light-colored pickup truck with a camper in its bed, like a camper top in its bed, driving slowly behind her.
Oh.
And the two witnesses that came forward with these statements, they saw her basically, like, if I remember correctly, 10 to 15 minutes apart.
Dude. This, I know that, I'm so sorry that I do not remember the name of this girl, but this is so much reminding me of that case where that girl had went for a run and there were photos of her, like, on her garage camera of her opening the trunk and whatever, and then I believe it was in Oklahoma, some kind of like farm country, and her neighbor drove his truck and basically ran her over, put her in the trunk, raped her, and killed her. And that was like a huge case that happened like just a couple of years ago, I think, like right before COVID hit. And it's so crazy how much this case is like reminding me of it. Maybe it's like the terrain and the details of the truck and her running. It's just like, ugh.
Well, she wasn't running, she was riding her bike, but
yeah, same.
Yeah. When you hear also just things that happen, there's a lot of weird factors, but a lot are familiar to other missing persons cases, kidnapping cases, and even murder cases. So it's just very weird and troubling. So, like I said, no other evidence than what I just mentioned was really found, and the search for Tara and other evidence would continue for days and months. But luckily, at least one of the witnesses who noticed the truck driving behind Tara he believed he would be able to give enough details for a sketch because he saw the driver's face, noticed he had like a mustache. So a sketch of the driver was released to the public, but it led nowhere. 9 months would go by before a very strange development would happen. And this is kind of a sidebar. I'll go off a little bit and then I'll pull y'all back, I promise. So, like I said, 9 months later, on June 15th, 1989, a Polaroid picture was found in a convenience store parking lot by a woman in sorry.
Now you know how hard it is for me.
It's always hard for me.
You just make it look so much easier.
Oh, God. Thank you. A Polaroid picture was found in a convenience store parking lot by a woman in Port St. Joe, Florida. Port St. Joe, Florida.
Yes.
Sorry.
This is where all the memories come flooding back of
Yes.
the weird details that I know.
A young woman and a boy are in the photo. They're pictured in the back of a van, like a cargo van. You can see the white walls of the cargo van. They're duct taped on the mouth, gagged with duct tape, and their hands are bound behind their backs.
Mm.
So the woman who found the photo, I think she walked into the convenience store and she noticed this white van kind of parked next to her or near her. And when she walked out, she found the Polaroid on the floor or on the ground, right where that van was parked.
Oh.
So she saw the picture and she's like, what the fuck? And she immediately took it to the police. Thank goodness, good for her. Because she was able to tell the police that she found it in a parking spot where a white cargo van was parked.
It just really gives me chills to think that either situation is terrible, but either this person deliberately left that photo for someone to find, or one of the victims pushed that photo out in a desperate attempt to try and save their lives, and it just
both of those theories are top 3, but also top 3 I'd say it would have just fallen out of the van.
To me it seems more, it in my mind, I don't know why, it just seems so deliberate.
And
I don't know whether it be from the victim or from him. In a really sick way, I really feel like it may have been from him. Just maybe some shit that he just does.
Remind me to mention later towards the end, kind of, maybe about the deliberacy part of thing.
Yes. Drunk Kristen is here and she will do her best, but she's not
try
any guarantees.
This Polaroid that was found, like I said, the woman who found it turned it into police. And I'm not sure how or whatever the circumstances was or were, but it got released to the public somehow because Tara's family saw it and thought the woman in the photo looked very similarly like Tara Calico.
I don't like how.
And I'm sorry I didn't provide it for you, Kristen, but if you'd like to look it up, you can see the Polaroid.
No. I saw it when I saw that she looked exactly like you. That was the next photo. That's how I, that, if y'all haven't seen the photo, I don't know if we're going to post it. I'm looking at you, Sarah. I don't really know how, okay. If you're like me and you have a really terrible memory, this photo is what makes the case. And it's so terrifying to look at, so I can only imagine being a random civilian on the street and you just see a photo on the ground and you pick it up and this is what you're seeing, and to think that this was someone that was getting gas right next to you, or something that is so casual and instantly becomes so horrific and intimate, and you're just like, not prepared for that. And the reason why I think that is because I think it's so deliberate is because he would just get such a rise out of that. Yeah. In my mind, I guess, but.
So Tara's family became quickly convinced that it was Tara in the Polaroid that was found in Florida, which was over 1,200 miles away. But also, don't forget, there was a young boy in the photograph with her. And so, remember, Tara was 19 when she went missing, but this young boy photographed with her, I think he was around 10. He was way younger. And so, a couple months before Tara went missing, a boy named Michael Henley was on a camping trip in New Mexico with his dad and a third person. I'm sorry, I don't know what the relation was, but it was another adult, his dad's friend or a family member, whatever. So it's not really important. But anyways, Michael went missing from the campsite all of a sudden, and he basically was never found, but he search parties started immediately. And
at the campsite?
Yeah, like his dad and the adult friend just realized like, oh, he's gone.
Stop.
And so his dad described, I think in what I watched, like his first assumption was that he just roamed off and got lost, and they were really hoping they could find him, but they never. So
you just ruined Theodore's summer.
Stop.
He's not camping.
I'm sorry.
He's
Yes,
not
he is.
camping anymore.
They make child leashes for this exact reason.
Yes, I am putting that child leash.
And I won't judge you.
In the ground, and he is not leaving.
And I won't
You
judge
can call
you.
CPS on me. I would rather him be spiked into the ground. Oh my god, that is so.
Sorry.
Like, what do you?
So when Michael's family saw this Polaroid, they actually also recognized the boy in the photo and insisted that it was Michael in the Polaroid with Tara. And because Tara and Michael's family were both in the New Mexico area, both of their moms, like Tara's mom and Michael's mom, they actually like came together and was like, our children, you know. So at first, both families were pretty certain that it was indeed their children in the Polaroid. But if it was, like, what would this mean for the investigation? Were they kidnapped and taken to Florida? Or was the guilty part just in Florida? You know, like, what the fuck could have happened? What does this mean?
And it's also so random. Oh, wait. Oh, you're breaking out.
Hold on.
You're breaking out. You're breaking out.
You just cut out.
Yeah, you're cutting out, too.
Hold on. Is it me or you?
I don't know. It looks like
Is it me or you?
Are you moving or am I? Oh, no, I feel like I'm cutting out, too. You're not back to normal yet. Oh, what was that?
You're cutting out.
You are too. I don't know. I see it cutting out on my end too.
Testing.
It's all... Oh. My computer is like... It's at 5% and it's charging. That's why it's freaking out. My charger has been broken.
Yeah, it's not glitching now, but it was for like a minute straight.
My computer has been plugged in this entire time, and it's at 4%.
I just did hear the ding, which means it's charging.
Yeah, but it's been doing that this entire time, and it's at only now 4%. And it's like... It went from 5 to 4%, so now I'm just worried that the computer's gonna die. Either my charger's breaking or my computer's breaking. Either one is not a good idea. Or not the ideal possibility. Whatever I'm trying to say.
Should we stop the recording and save it just in case? But any theory about Michael being the boy in the photo was actually eventually decided as not the case, because Michael's remains were found in the Zuni Mountains of New Mexico about 2 years after he went missing, and the Zuni Mountain area where he was found was 7 miles away from his campsite. So I'm not going to get into too much detail about Michael, but it was basically decided that he died of natural/accidental causes due to consumption, due to being out in the wilderness. Like,
So he basically just like
he wandered off and died. So rather than being kidnapped, he died of consumption. But Patty, Tara's mom, was convinced that it was Tara in the photograph because next to the woman in the Polaroid, you can see a book next to her, and it's a book titled My Sweet Audrina by V.C. Andrews, which was Tara's favorite book.
Yeah, I remember that detail. Oh,
The woman in the photo also had a scar on her leg that matched one that Tara received from a previous car accident. But the FBI says that the analysis is too inconclusive, so they don't believe that it is Tara in the photograph, even though it kind of could look similar.
Okay, I also just read from the British Inquiry that a shit ton of deaths that were sketchy as fuck weren't sketchy as fuck. So I'm not really believing anything that any kind of official person is telling me. I'm sorry.
Right. I mean, you never know. And it is important to note that apparently over the years, 2 more Polaroids have surfaced that seem like they could be of Tara, but they haven't been released to the public. And I read in another source that they were more like film photos that were taken later on, but I don't know. Basically, nothing comes of anything at this point, and the case would go on cold for a couple of decades. Unfortunately, Tara's mother, Patty, passed away in 2006, and so she would never get to see any kind of justice. or progression in her daughter's case. In 2008, Sheriff Rene Rivera of Valencia County alleged that he knew what happened to Tara. And he became sheriff or joined the force, basically, I don't know, a year after Tara went missing.
And what did he do with this knowledge that he knew what happened?
Part of his claims that were basically 2 teenage boys were driving the pickup truck that was seen following Tara, and they hit her. They then covered up the crime. He said that they had a case built, but needed further, like, hard-hitting evidence, such as Tara herself, or her bike, or any other evidence to make it concrete.
Yeah, I get that.
So when Tara's stepfather, John Dole, remember her mother's passed away at this point. So her stepfather learned of this like statement by this sheriff, and he expressed like extreme ridicule against these statements, because he basically was like, why would you publicly make these claims without enough evidence for any arrests or anything? Like, you're just kind of like saying
and,
shit.
Like, yeah, and it's like, where is the evidence that this was?
So you're just like pulling something like a theory.
How do you know that they were teenagers? How do you know that
Right.
they were fucking, like, you're just pulling details out of your ass. Like, I get what you mean in the sense of, like, someone had knocked her over and killed her, but as far as your extreme details, like, you're a little cuckoo.
Yeah. So, no suspects were ever named regarding these claims, and nothing really immediately came out of this theory. So, nothing really happens. It remains open and cold, kind of, until October of 2013. A task force was created to reinvestigate Tara's disappearance. It consisted of 6 agents varying from state and federal agencies and departments. And so also in 2013, something interesting happens with the case. A deathbed confession was actually made regarding Tara's disappearance. A man named Henry Brown claimed that his neighbor, Lawrence Romero Jr., and a handful of his friends had openly talked about killing Tara the day she went missing.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
Guess
right.
who-
Well, where are the handcuffs? Sorry.
Hold on,
go.
but you'll see. Guess who Lawrence Romero Jr.'s father was?
Oh, someone who will not make this possible, I'm sure.
He was the Valencia County Sheriff at the time of Tara's disappearance.
I was going to say some kind of sheriff or police. Yep.
So, apparently, from this deathbed confession, nothing came of it. Nothing ever happened.
Yep.
So, the case remains unsolved and cold. Until 2019.
Oh.
The FBI renewed their...
I don't
Sorry,
remember that much.
that
of this
wasn't a
case.
laugh. It was like...
No, I literally don't remember anything. So I'm like rereading this for the first time.
Yeah.
It's not great. No.
I know. It's not. In 2019, the FBI renewed their interest in Tara's disappearance, and they are currently offering a substantial reward for Tara's whereabouts or information leading to her kidnapping / possible death.
Wow.
And, there is an amount listed online, but I'm not going to say it because you cray-crays. Just in case. What, is that stupid or should I just say it?
You're going to post the photo of her.
Yeah, the reward poster will probably say the $20,000 reward.
Dude,
because I am going to post her missing persons poster from the FBI. So some theories about what could have happened to Tara, because as you may have guessed, to this day the case is still unsolved. One that I came across, I was totally unexpecting, and I was like, what? But okay, let's give it a shot.
Ooh,
it is a connection to the toy box killer. Yeah.
Wait, when did this case happen again?
Tara went missing on September 20th, 1988. And if you're familiar with the toy box killer, he is in the New Mexico, Albuquerque area.
And he was in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. So this theory is pretty wild. And like I said, I was not expecting it in my research. But when I saw it, I was like, oh! Okay.
Because he was in a fucking van, too.
Mm-hmm.
But there was the blue truck.
Yeah. So we don't know. And I'm not going to get a lot into detail about the toy box killer, because literally if I did, we'd be here all night. That's a whole 3 episodes in itself. So
that's like
maybe another time.
We could literally make a whole podcast about how fucked up.
Right. So, but just a little bit about him. David Parker Ray, aka the toy box killer, was actually born in Belen, New Mexico, where Tara lived and disappeared. At a young age, David went to live super close nearby in New Mexico with his grandparents. It was like in the next town over, basically, like over the train tracks where Tara would ride her bike to. I think, if I remember correctly. It was very close.
Yeah, it's eerie how you just worded that, so...
Mm-hmm. So this man is not only linked to the location where Tara went missing, but he's most likely super familiar with it. So not only is the toy box killer linked just by location, but there's a weird coincidence within the toy box killer's killings, I guess you could say. 2 days after Tara went missing, a man named Billy Ray Bowers went missing, and he wouldn't be discovered until a year later when his body surfaced on Elephant Butte Lake near Albuquerque. It would later be found out that Billy Ray Bowers was abducted and murdered by the toy box killer, aka David Parker Ray. So some think that because of the geographical and timeline similarities, that Tara could have been a victim of the toy box killer. It's just like weird coincidences. I don't think it really ever got looked into, but who knows?
It's just how many active killers, serial killers / killers were active around that time. And that's a question that you have to ask yourself, because I would really hate for the answer to be more than one. It has been, and very much in this situation could have possibly been more than two. But it's the lineup of the facts that happen around her disappearance that just leave you questioning, like, what if? And that's what's
also,
so scary.
My question is, like, what are the odds of this being like a random mishap of a situation versus
very small,
being a victim of an actual serial killer who was known in that location around that time?
Exactly.
But it's still hard to tell because no connections are ever made between her and him.
Because even in the 80s, okay, so what? If you were to look at random people snatching people off of the streets with CCTV, I guess, like, maybe the percentages are a little bit less, but still, it's like less than like 5% of cases of people going murdered. It's always someone you know, someone you have some kind of connection to, for it to be just some random nobody. But it's the fact that it's the bike kind of like screeching and it's randomly stopped, but then the fact that really like mixes me up is the blue truck. So like, who was driving the blue truck? But I also know the toy box killer. I have not brushed up on the episodes. I know it was more than one person though, so like, I don't know if maybe they had a blue truck that maybe they would use, or if
he had a
this is
girlfriend
just
that was eventually involved, and it was her who actually gave up the name of this the Billy Ray.
But then you have like that other person again that you said, didn't they like confess to the murder?
No, he gave a deathbed confession of his neighbor, his apparently teenage neighbor, who would talk along with his friends. It was quoted as several of his friends talking about how they killed her the day she disappeared.
So
that's my next theory I'll get into. The second theory out of two I have. A hit and runs.
Hey, they're fucking good theories though.
Yeah, I mean, hit and run / cover up by locals, basically. So as I mentioned before, there was a theory mentioned that a hit and run situation may have happened. There is a theory that some local teenage boys, and again, I don't know how they hone in on the teenage, but who were possibly drunk and or on drugs, hit Tara while she was riding her bike and received help by family members to cover up the crime. Family members or friends. Investigators insist that people in Belen know the truth but are protecting others by not saying anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're trash if you're listening to this. Doubt it, but you're trash.
And I'll get into that a little more in a second, but so a theory of cover-up is believed by a lot of people regardless of really like who did it. Like, it's been covered up, basically. A lot of people believe. It's
basically the point of like everyone has done it because they've covered it up in some kind of way.
Tara's family has not only suffered a physical loss, but a psychological loss as well. You know, loss without closure sucks. And
you don't even have a body to bury.
Right.
Like,
so
you don't have a place where you can go and properly mourn this soul that has left the earth. It's It's like a travesty. It's so devastating as a family to not have that.
Well,
and
it sucks because
really
it gives you hope, but then
hear.
also you're like
You
devastated.
Yeah. Especially
not knowing sucks.
Her mom, and then her mom passed without
knowing anything. Yeah.
It just, it really pisses me off for the people that fucking did this and just.
All right, so this will piss you off even more.
Great, can't wait.
Even if the persons who did this get caught, statute of limitations could heavily affect any conviction.
Okay, tell me how.
Last I heard.
Give me a law lesson because I don't remember.
Well, because it happened so long ago, they can't be tried for a crime that had been committed. Not under certain laws.
Under what law? Murder under
the statute of limitations.
Under the United States of goddamn America.
It's a general thing. It can go for rape. It can go for murder. It can go for any crime.
No, murder in the United States of America is limitless. Look it up.
Not.
Outside of America, yes. Inside of America, lifetime. Lifetime. That's why you're getting people like 70 years down the road. Or not 70 years down the road, but like now that they're...
Well, because they got changed recently, like within the past... I don't know. So as far as kind of advocation for this case or awareness brought to it, in the earlier years, you know, when Tara's mom was still alive and stuff, Tara's parents went on Oprah seeking for answers. And on the year anniversary of Tara's disappearance, her case was featured on Unsolved Mysteries. And they also featured the little boy who was supposedly in the photograph with her and stuff.
Yeah.
The case has also been featured on 48 Hours, apparently, because I couldn't freaking find the episode. Because I wanted to watch it and I couldn't fucking find it. So, Jesus Christ. Also, Melinda Escabel, a classmate and friend of Tara's from high school, has a podcast focused on the investigation of the disappearance of Tara. It's called Vanished, the Tara Calico investigation. And it goes into a way deep dive. It has way more information, such as like interviews with investigators, with witnesses, and just so much more information. So go check that out if you want like the whole fucking story on this, because she's been on it for years and she's continuing to work on it.
Great job. What was her name again? Sorry.
So her name is Melinda Escabel. And so she's working on the podcast I just mentioned, as well as a documentary on Tara's case. She apparently started it years ago, like over 7 maybe years ago.
Wow.
But she got threats like on her life,
from who?
like from locals, or
really?
She didn't specify from who. I assume locals. But she apparently moved away and stepped away.
Fucking did it.
Yeah, because I think she wanted to do, because she's a filmmaker, so she wanted to do the documentary first years ago, but then got threats, and I think she moved away, and she most recently started the podcast, but she's still trying to work on making the documentary happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's more, it's just amazing what people will do when they feel like the narrative is so different than, or it's like so skewed from reality, or just from what they accept as reality, and
right.
they think it's okay to send death threats to someone who's literally just trying to figure out the truth.
Exactly. I mean, that just kind of reassures like that maybe she's on the right track of things.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, exactly, because they don't want her to find out what happened.
Yeah. So like I said, definitely check that out, and Melinda, if you need an actress for your documentary, a reenactment actress, maybe I don't know. I don't have much experience, but I apparently look like her, like Tara. I don't know.
She's a dead ringer. Dude, you'd make a awesome. You're pretty good at acting too.
Oh God. So, in memory, Tara was a young, energetic woman who had goals in life, and those who knew her remain hopeful, like in her case, and really hope that one day they'll at least find her, you know, whether it be dead or alive, for closure and peace. And they really hope to find justice for Tara, and finding that, you know, whoever did this, they really want to find justice for her and catch the person's party involved. So we will be posting an age progressed photo of Tara made by the FBI. And if you have any information regarding Tara Calico's disappearance, please contact Valencia County Sheriff Office at the Los Lunas location, New Mexico, at 505-866-2400, or contact the FBI at 505-889-1300.
Damn.
What do you think, Kristen? Like, what do you think happened?
I really unfortunately think it was like one of the random percentage, the small percentage of it being, I mean, either it was some teenagers. So
Fuck, I forgot
editing.
For when you
the coincidences.
the coincidence.
Yes. Sorry.
I know.
Sorry. I'm remembering.
Okay.
No, you're remembering, but I'm pretending like I'm remembering for you. Yes.
Okay.
Fuck.
So Tara's mom did mention that her daughter was obviously intellectual, and she seemed like the person that would kind of leave behind the trace or a trail if she were to have been like abducted or in any kind of danger. So she found like the broken walkie kind of a sign that like obviously something happened there to her daughter, whether it be intentional or not, you know, like the stuff left behind. But also in regarding to the Polaroids, you know, with how the book was her daughter's favorite book, she just kind of thinks that like her daughter would be smart enough to leave behind kind of signs or clues. So this is the type of case that has really left a lot of questions and people thinking and going to different theories like cover-ups, because when you look at the different sides of things, in my opinion, it kind of really screams like someone local and it was an accident. And unless like literally the toy box killer did it, I don't know. Were her remains ever found in Elephant Butte? No. Will they be? I don't know.
I think what's so hard is there are so many possibilities, even outside of murder, that we may not possibly know about. I mean, like, obviously she had to have been abducted in some sense because of the tire marks and
it was mentioned, like you said, it was mentioned that within the theory of a local doing it and it being covered up, like they most likely knew her. And
yeah. Just, it's that blue truck that really stands out to me and makes me think that this is more of, but then if it were a local
and so
thing,
the witnesses that saw the truck, they claim that an older man, like in his 30s with a mustache, was driving it rather than like two teenage boys. So it's
how big was this town? Were they able to find this blue truck within the town? I mean,
apparently after finding out about the truck, police set up like traffic stops in the surrounding area in hopes to interact with the car or with the truck.
Obviously,
and it didn't happen.
Because they're gonna hide it. But it's so if it had to have been a town thing, my obvious thought afterwards would be that if someone saw that blue truck, they would recognize that blue truck, because if it were something that were to be written around town, then it would be easily recognizable. So if someone weren't to say, hey, so-and-so drives a truck exactly like this, then maybe it was something out of town, and maybe it was something that was out. And that's why I said in the beginning, I'm not really familiar with the toy box, the facts around the toy box killer case. I know that it was definitely more than one person, but I'm trying to remember what kind of vehicle that they drove, and I don't know if any of it was a blue truck, but I feel like if it was, it would have been definitely made in the articles. My audio cut out, but either way, shit. Yeah, wow. That was... I definitely remember the Polaroid, but the facts around it are still as mystifying as ever.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. It's like it has weird factors that go into it, and like I said, I didn't even cover most of it, so check out the other resources I post, and I don't know if y'all have any other opinions, maybe let us know. We'd love to hear your opinions. Did I kill your buzz?
Yes, it's killed. I would say I'm sober. I'm thinking. I'm probably going to ponder on this for another 30 minutes. So, yeah, cheers. Cheers to officially killing my buzz. I'm still a little drunk, but it's a somber drunk now.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes.
Cheers to me wondering if there will be an update on this case ever. Hopefully.
Cheers to hopefully having an update on this case.
Yes.
Yeah. I really hope one day some kind of DNA evidence will be thrown our way.
Just closure and justice. Just please.
God, you don't have to love us. Just love the universe. Give us some kind of answer on this one. And until next time, guys, be sure to keep up with the latest and greatest on all of our social media platforms, Twitter, Insta, or TikTok, or new one, or even YouTube.
At RARW Podcast, bitches. Without the bitches.
No, please don't put bitches. Please don't get us demonetized on YouTube.
It's just at ARARW.
And stay drunk until next time, but maybe not, because you will get cirrhosis of the liver.
No!
Bye.
Ew.
Well, it's true.
So you're saying I'm going to get cirrhosis of the liver?
You're not going to stay drunk until the next episode. That's 7 days from now. I would be very concerned.
Oh, true. Look at us.
Yeah, improving. It was 7 days. Now it's only 6 days. Okay, bye.